Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister. You are talking tonight about the United States taking over a sovereign territory. What authority would allow you to do that? Are you talking about a permanent occupation there, redevelopment? And Mr. Prime Minister, do you see this idea as a way to expand the boundaries of Israel and to have a longer peace, even though the Israeli people know how important that land is to you and your citizens, just as the space is inherited by the Palestinians as well?
I do see a long-term ownership position, and I see it bringing great stability to that part of the Middle East and maybe the entire Middle East. And everybody I've spoken to, this was not a decision made lightly. Everybody I've spoken to loves the idea of the United States owning that piece of land, developing and creating thousands of jobs with something that will be.
The big news tonight is that President Trump has completely.
Also, can you guys imagine? Can you guys imagine the U.S. going to Gaza and actually taking control of Gaza, and apparently rebuilding Gaza from scratch? Obviously, that's going to involve our military to be involved in that country, and I don't know if the Palestinians will want that, and I don't think it's a good idea. And Hamas would definitely not want that, including Iran and the other bad guys in the area. So I don't know what the president was thinking, but that's pretty crazy. Let's hear to see what she has to say.
For 75 years of what America's policy has been on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And let me just give you like a quick rundown on what he talked about with the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. So President Trump has said that the U.S. is going to take over the Gaza Strip. This is really significant. So this essentially, what he's proposing is that they would forcibly, the United States, us, would help to forcibly remove the Palestinians from the Gaza Strip.
And can you just imagine trying to force the Palestinians out of Gaza? I guarantee you 99% of them will not want that. They will literally take a bullet in their head than to leave their so beloved country, Gaza. And not including Hamas. Hamas will literally fight to death before even that happening. So that's pretty wild to even dream of such thing.
The issue with this, there's lots of issues with this. Number one, there's nowhere for these Palestinians to go.
True.
President Trump has asked Egypt.
And also Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, you name all these countries in the Middle East and North Africa will not take the Palestinians. They have already said that years and years from now, that would not happen. And the Palestinians themselves will not make that move as well. So
Jordan, all the surrounding Arab countries to please take them in. Unfortunately, the Arab League, all these countries do not want to take in the Palestinians. Number two is that the U.S. is going to be part of this effort to forcibly remove an entire population. So this is going to basically fuel the Palestinian cause. It's going to piss them off. It's going to piss off a lot of the Palestinian cause.
And she's right. I think that Iran and Hamas are going to use this as a fuel for to push their agenda. They could easily say, you see, we told you guys, America and Israel, their goal is to get rid of us and to take our land from us. And I think Trump saying this doesn't help the cause in our favor, but actually help fuels the conflict in that region.
Islamic extremist causes, it's not going to be good for the United States. I'm not sure that President Trump has really thought this one through. And the U.S. essentially taking over the Gaza Strip. This is a very complicated, historically complicated situation. The Gaza Strip has a lot of historical significance for the Palestinian people. They see that as their land. Of course, the Israelis do too. Why we're in such a back and forth with these two nations
That's right.
constantly, or a nation state. So what's going to happen? So international law, so like the Geneva Convention and things like that, they prohibit any country from forcibly removing another population from a land.
And that's also true. I mean, according to the international law, that's illegal. That's that's a no-go. So I'm not exactly sure how he's planning on going around that, but it sounds really, really illegal. That's a great point.
Which they claim. So President Trump is making promises that we're going to help to redevelop, that we're going to help to, I guess, redesign the Gaza Strip into what he sounds like a resort community or something, which is just kind of crazy for me to like wrap my head around.
Can you guys imagine Trump building a hotel, one of his big famous Trump hotel in Gaza? That would be hilarious.
Right now, because this has just been such a contentious area for so long. And of course, I would love to see peace in this region, right? But the issue is that these people do not want to leave. And what President Trump said, it is definitely hell on earth right there.
It sure is.
But us going in there, the United States going into the Gaza Strip, I don't know if I want to see our service members doing that. Another thing that the president...
It's also something we shouldn't get involved in, because having our soldiers there potentially can lead into something else. We could lose our soldiers. It could create a whole nother mess in the Middle East. So I myself don't envision our military stepping in there. And I say this as a veteran.
Touched on was Iran having a nuclear weapon. Both him and Benjamin Netanyahu were talking about a major campaign to put pressure on the Iranian government to ensure that they never get a nuclear weapon. How he proposes to do that, he didn't really get into the specifics, but I would like to know what that plan looks like going forward. What are your thoughts on President Trump's new plan to occupy the Gaza Strip?
Donald Trump has got a lot of nerve saying that he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize for the ceasefire in Gaza, especially with all the other bullshit that he said today during his meeting with Netanyahu. Now, quick reminder,
she's
Netanyahu
feisty.
once said that Donald Trump is the best friend Israel has ever had in the White House. So it makes complete sense that this entire meeting is just the two of these men stroking each other's egos. But let's recap some of the comments they made. Now, once again, Trump has suggested the permanent resettlement of Palestinians out of Gaza, saying, who would want to live there? Palestinians do. They do not want to be displaced again in Nakba 2.0. He's also still pushed for Jordan and Egypt and other countries to accept Palestinian refugees as permanently displaced people, despite the fact that these countries have said no, and has asserted that he will.
But I do think Donald Trump does have a point, though, because Gaza needs to be rebuilt. It's a pile of dust, a pile of concrete, as we all can see. So for Gaza to be reconstructed, obviously, the Palestinian people will have to go somewhere. Where are they gonna go? I don't know. Is it possible to push them? Is it possible for them to stay in Gaza and have the whole country rebuilt? That too, I don't know, because when you look at Gaza, I mean, it's bad. It's bad.
Make them say yes. He was then asked about Saudi Arabia and how they have demanded the creation of a Palestinian state as a caveat to formalizing ties with Israel. And he completely contradicted all of the official statements by the Saudi Arabian government, saying that no, they are not demanding a Palestinian state. Which to me just completely reads as him ignoring their demands and instead deciding that what he wants is best. And then he got started on Iran, almost implying that the US should directly attack Iran. He made a point to say, well, Iran is very strong right now, but they weren't strong when I left office. Directly after he targeted and assassinated Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani. He followed up by saying that Iran is very close to having nuclear weapons and the US can't have that. And when asked directly if he would support strikes on Iran, he said, we'll see what happens. And let's not forget, all of these comments come the same day that Trump signed an executive order withdrawing the U.S. from the UN Human Rights Council and extending a funding ban on UNRWA. He's basically bending over backwards to give Netanyahu everything he wants. And then the cherry on top of it all, at the very end, he sat there and praised Netanyahu, saying he's the right leader for Israel and he's done a great job in Gaza, and we've been friends for such a long time. Our president.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a good move for Trump to do that, because the prime minister definitely could have done a lot of things better in Gaza. So I think especially when it came to releasing the hostage and having all these peace agreements with Hamas, I think things could have been dealt better. The prime minister is definitely not innocent himself. So that's something I definitely agree on.
He sat down with an international war criminal, gave him everything that he wanted, and then praised him and called him his best friend. We should all be very worried right now.
Donald Trump just said in his press conference that the United States will take over the Gaza Strip. What does he mean? This is huge. Wait, what? Donald Trump is the most pro-Israel president in history. This is shocking. Remember I said that Abu Baran had a plan? Abu Baran is like, I know the Middle East. Don't worry. I make deals. Abu Baran had a good plan. And the art of the deal, Trump's going to get some nice beachfront property.
President Trump has proposed relocating Palestinians from Gaza to neighboring countries like Egypt and Jordan, suggesting that Gaza will be uninhabitable for up to 15 years due to the recent conflict. But here's why this plan is deeply, deeply flawed. First, this proposal disregards the rights and sovereignty of Palestinians. Forcing people to leave their homes and communities is a violation of their basic human rights and international law. Second, Egypt and Jordan have firmly rejected this plan. Both countries have expressed concerns about the demographic and political implications of such a move, highlighting the lack of regional support for this proposal. Third, this approach fails to address the root causes of the actual conflict. Simply relocating populations doesn't solve underlying issues like political representation, economic opportunities, and or security concerns. And lastly, this plan could lead to further instability in the Middle East. Displacing large populations can exacerbate tensions and create new humanitarian crises. In summary, while the situation in Gaza is dire, forcibly relocating Palestinians is not the solution. We need policies that respect human rights, promote regional cooperation, and address the root causes of the conflict. If you truly believe in protecting human rights and supporting real solutions, don't stay silent. Share this message, educate others, and push for the change that you want to see. Follow me for more updates.
All right, so what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you guys think that it's the United States should get involved? We should have the military, and then we should be in charge of Gaza, rebuild it, have the Palestinians pushed out, and then let the whole world come into Gaza and live there if they want to. I guess the Palestinians themselves can come back. Was it wise for Trump to say that? Do you imagine yourself? Do you guys imagine yourself for the USA to do such thing? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.